Getting your gym flow on, huh?
What's that?
Getting your gym flow on.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the pool as soon as we're done. So
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Sure you are.
Yeah. I just post up here and just make everybody uncomfortable that I'm putting everybody on video.
Yeah.
All right. All right, gents, how are we doing this evening?
Good.
All right. So quick announcement about the coaching call recordings. So going forward, all the coaching call recordings are in the STR Secrets site. So strsecrets.com/training. There is a new tab in there for the coaching calls. Demetrius has been helping me get those uploaded. So thank you for that, buddy. So going back all the way to November, all the coaching calls are posted in there. You'll see that they're sorted by month. And over the last couple months, we've done a pretty good job taking notes. And as of the last month, Matt's been taking diligent notes with timestamps of when we're talking about different topics, just to make it easier for you guys to go in and find different clips that we're talking about. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. I know Chad posted in the group asking where to find the coaching call. So I'll do a separate video and post it in the group as well, just to let people know. For those of you that are past the 3-month window, I sent out an email that if you'd like to continue with the group coaching, you can sign up at that email. It's $97 a month, or you can pay for the year up front for $9.97, and you can continue coming on these coaching calls, having me review your deals, your listings, answering all your questions, you name it. So for those of you guys that want to continue, we'd love to have you. I'd love to keep working with you, and that's how you do it. So with all of that being said, let's jump right into it. So why don't we start with you, Bernie? What is new in your world, and how can we help you?
Well, I signed up my first co-host, so that went really well. We're kind of stuck in the middle because he had his property co-hosted by another company, and he's trying to get released from that. And I know that in the beginning he wasn't really aggressive enough asking him to release it, so I'm not sure if it took him a while to call them, but he said he's waiting for a call back from them, so I'm not exactly sure where that is. So the question I have around that is, if for some reason we run into any trouble with that, getting him released from the listing, is there anything I can do with Airbnb to force it out?
I don't think Airbnb is going to get involved, to be totally honest with you. I think that's just more of a business decision that you and him need to make. He just needs to continue to follow up with that company and just ask them to turn over the listing. Is it in his name or the company's name?
It's in the company's name.
Okay. So that's better, because if it, oh wait, in the management company's name?
Yeah, the management company's name. Yep.
All right, so they may, Bethany, I'm just gonna, there you go. It may be a little more challenging. The route that you may need to go, if they're kind of forcing your hand, is you may just need to manually add those reservations to your new account and basically set up a new listing for him.
There's no reservations. There's nothing. There's no activity on the account.
Oh, all right. Well, that makes it easy then. Then you may end up just needing to start a new account for that property and tell them to shut that one down.
Well, that's what I did, but you know, I did the optimization through Danny, so I was in touch with him. And the one thing, because I had them both live at the same time, I figured it doesn't matter, but he's like, you don't want two different listings with the same address on at the same time, because that's bad on the Airbnb side.
Danny said that, or your client said that?
No, Danny said that.
Yeah, I agree. Because then you could get a double booking, and it looks weird from the consumer side. It's like, wait, is this the same property? And it just confuses people. So, yeah, he just needs to continue to push them and just tell them to shut it down, deactivate the listing.
So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for right now. I'm ready to go gung-ho, so.
Awesome. So do you need to have him do any upgrades to the property, or is it ready to go?
There's a couple things. There's like, he doesn't have, he has a key box, so we have to put the August locks on. And it's kind of weird. We did a final walkthrough, and he did have like a closet for the cleaning people. What we call the cleaner, nobody knows where the key is. So I walked through the place, and there's like no toilet paper, no paper products. I'm like, how's anybody going to use this place? if they get here, there's no toilet paper. I mean,
Yeah.
So that's really it. So we're just gonna drill out the lock in the closet and put in new locks. He was supposed to do that last week. He still hasn't done it. So this morning I offered him. I said I can send my guys in there, do it. It'll be done in an hour. So I think right now he's gonna take me up on that. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll get physical possession of the property.
Okay, that's exciting. And just to let everybody know, so what were the terms that you guys agreed on for that co-host deal, as far as your rate and everything else?
So my rate was 25%, but since he had his own cleaning lady, I took all the stuff about cleaners out of it. But I did tell him that if his cleaner doesn't work out, because we're going to be booking it a lot more than a couple times a month, then we'll get cleaners. But the contract doesn't have anything about cleaning in it, so it's just 25% of the whole gross.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and he's fine with that. And one other thing. So he did propose. He asked me if I would disincentivize it if I don't reach a certain amount, and incentivize it if I reach a higher amount. Which the property right now, if he rents it a couple times a month, he makes $1,600 a month. So he was worried about doing under $1,600 a month. So the proposal we have, and he hasn't said yes or no to it, but I definitely want to do it, is if it makes less than $1,600 a month, then I would only get 20%. If it makes between $1,600 and $3,000 a month, which I think it should be between 2 and 3, then I get my 25%. And anything over $3,000 a month, then I get 30% for that month. So that'll be awesome, because there's, April through June, we're predicting well over $3,000 a month on it. So I want to take that. Yep. Yeah,
for sure. Congrats, man. That's awesome. That's exciting. So that brings you to 2.
Yep.
I love it. That's exciting. So keep us posted on that. Any other questions about that property or anything you got going on with yours?
Yeah, I like the Elite hat. How did I get one of those?
Yeah, we'll be sending you one of these, buddy. I got to have some more of these made up.
I like it. Oh, that's it. No other questions.
All right, cool. Why don't we go to you, Bethany? I want to check out this listing.
Yeah, sorry. You're probably going to hear my kids in the background. My apologies.
Don't worry about it. I've got a 3-year-old. I totally get it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yep. So now you're looking to purchase a property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So vacation house, is this one near Disney too? I didn't get to do too much research on it.
It's in North Myrtle Beach.
Okay, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, South Carolina. Huge vacation area, obviously. I posted all this stuff. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but basically, we love the view. We love the location. The price seems great, surprisingly. They have not had any offers yet. And according to the realtor, they're motivated but not distressed. So we're kind of just crunching our numbers, trying to see what and if we're going to make an offer. Are
there any restrictions regulation-wise?
In Myrtle Beach?
Yeah.
No, okay. Nothing that we found. Obviously, there's things out of our control if they put regulations in, but I mean, it's such a vacation area and so many people rent on Airbnb and VRBO that it would be horrible of them to put in restrictions. It would just kill their tourism, but whatever.
Yeah.
So as far as the AirDNA stuff goes, what we're running into is that the owners were nice enough to give us their spreadsheet of what they did last year. And they grossed about $25,000, just under $25,000.
Sounds pretty low.
Yeah.
That sounds really low.
So we looked at their spreadsheet. They, I'll put your milk in just a minute. They, sorry.
Okay. I'm just going to find your post.
They only rent from March to November. And they only had they had less than 30% occupancy. Here, honey, here. So I don't know. I didn't talk to them directly. They just sent that spreadsheet through their realtor. What I'm wondering is if they just used it frequently for themselves and that was just kind of like to supplement their income, because 30% occupancy, it was actually 27% occupancy, is incredibly low in my opinion, for a vacation area and for that area, for that view. If you looked at their Airbnb.
That's what I'm trying to pull up right now because I know you posted the link.
I could tag you in it again if you want me to.
I think I got it. I think it's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. The pictures are terrible. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't highlight that view. I don't feel like, their cover photo, I just don't get it, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with some little tweaks and some better photos, that alone, some decor updates and better photos, right? Like go with the clean white linens with some different color throw pillows just to like give it that clean look. Yeah, it just seems bare. It feels cold, right? There's The
biggest problem with this place is it's a low rise. It's only 3 stories, but this is on the 3rd floor, which gives it that great view. There's no elevator.
Okay, that's fine. I have some 3-deckers that we have properties on the top floor. You just disclose it in the listing, but I would market it as like the penthouse apartment, right? Like,
well, that's funny because that's how it's marketed to be sold. Like the realtor said, the penthouse suite, basically. So, and the realtor's photos are way better than these photos, in my opinion. But we're confused on the difference between what the owners got last year through Airbnb renting and what AirDNA is saying. Because if you go to AirDNA and you look at the comps, their place is actually listed as a comp. I don't know why or how. And AirDNA says that they made like $46K last year, which is not true according to their spreadsheet. So I don't know if they're pulling the dates that they had blocked off for themselves and counting that. And I think that,
and it can also just to the data on AirDNA includes the total gross collected, including cleaning fees and taxes. So it will look higher on here. But
I mean, double.
I think that they're just not doing it right. Like if you talk to like Chris Petsy, when he bought his beach cottage last year, year 1, he already did 50% better than the last year's owners. And he didn't really do any upgrades. He just started following our model. So, I mean, I've consistently outperformed AirDNA at all of our properties.
Okay.
Just because most people just aren't doing it right. I'm just trying to, it's a little blurry here. I'm just trying to see.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me export it. So I screenshotted it and I could see.
Is that first one saying 95 grand?
Yeah. No, let me see. Let me click on it. Hold on. The first one says 25 grand. But one of them is saying that they made like over 100K, one of the comps. I'm going to pull it up here. Hold on.
Because one looks like 95, one looks like 200.
No, it's not 200. I'm going to pull it up.
That's the revenue potential. That's revenue potential.
Well, I mean, so the confusing part is that when you go to Rentalizer and you put in the address and the bedrooms and bathrooms, it says potential revenue for projected revenue for next year. At the top, it says like 73,000. And then you scroll down and you go to this exact property that's currently listed on Airbnb and it says revenue potential 52,000. So why are they so vastly different?
That I don't know.
I still think we can do better. I said the same thing that you said, is that they're just not doing it very well.
I feel like you should get at least 50 off that property. It's beachfront, like
I know, right?
Beachfront. So,
I mean, if we made what they made last year, we break even, maybe lose a little bit of money. But if we can get 60% occupancy versus their 27%, that would all be profit.
That, and again, I know I've said this a bunch on these coaching calls, is I don't focus so much on the average daily rate and the occupancy rate. I focus on the total revenue because it's deceiving. Like I talked a couple weeks ago, we tested out as an example and it hurt me, but I wanted to show an example. One of our properties was 91% occupied last month, but it didn't matter because the rates were so low that we made less than we would have if we were 60% occupied. So I'm always looking at like the total revenue. Everybody gets focused on, I want higher occupancy. I don't really care. I'd rather have 60% occupied at 300 a night than 90% at 100 a night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what we've been learning. And even my husband, when he runs the numbers, he's like, we would rather have a higher rate than more occupancy. Because then you have the
especially
turnover costs.
On a nice, well, not even that, because you should make money every time you turn it over. Your cleaning fee should cover your cleaning fees plus your supplies plus a little bit of profits. You should make money every time you turn it over. But like for my beach properties in Florida, yes, I could reduce the rates to fill it more, but I don't, because I want to preserve the property first and foremost. So any of my larger properties, my luxury properties, the occupancy is way lower than my other ones, but it's because they're ridiculously expensive properties. And I want to make sure that I don't get any jerk guests in there, quite frankly. And the lower you go, the more trouble you ask for.
Right. And you still profit on those though, even with lower occupancy.
Yeah. I mean, we're at 83,000 for the year on our Florida property, but we were pretty much empty from December through now. And that's okay. Like we got a couple bookings to make a couple grand here and there, but for the summer, that thing's renting out at like $6,000 a week.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
It's like, you got to just understand your market and just be okay to ride out those slower months. I'm not sure like what Myrtle's market looks like if it slows down a lot in the winter, because it's warmer there, but not that much warmer than like, it's not like Southern Florida.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they do slow down in the winter months, but like I said, the current owners were renting from March to November, and I don't know if it just wasn't worth it to them to rent for, December, January, February, or they just didn't want to deal with it or whatever, but which is fine. Like you said, I don't care if we get some slower months. It's like those hot summer months we're trying to hit, obviously.
Yep, so, exactly. Were they doing it themselves, or did they have a company doing it?
They were doing it themselves.
Yeah. So again,
and they were doing the pricing themselves too, because they said, they wrote a little email and they just said, if we weren't getting bookings, we would lower our price. If our neighbors lowered the price, we would lower our price.
Yeah. See, that's that mom and pop mentality that you're not going to maximize your revenue that way.
Yeah.
It's not. So let me look at your numbers again that you posted. All right. So to me, that sounds like a real good price for that property.
For beachfront?
Damn. Yeah.
I agree.
Just to give you perspective, like my New Hampshire place, I'm in it for roughly 205 and we're doing about 50 grand in revenue. And that one is cranking pretty good, but at 250, even at those marks, like you only have it at 42,000 in there and you're still at a 20% cash on cash return, which is insane. Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're saying. We're like, if we could just make, a little bit more than what they're making, it's still a really good price. And like I said in the Facebook post, this is really conservative numbers. I think we could do way, way better, but we always run them conservative just to give us that margin, basically.
100%. I run every deal that way. Even on the hotel deal, I was running the numbers at like $130 a night, and we're going to be charging $250 a night. Right? Yep. If I don't get it, I'll drop it a little bit, but I want to know that I can still cash flow and never be underwater on that property.
Yeah. So one more question. They were doing like minimum 2-night stays, and on their spreadsheet, a lot of their stays were like 2-3 nights, sometimes 4 nights. In the summer months, I'm wondering if we should only do 7-night stays, like our week stay.
You could. So the Florida place that we have, it's my brother's place, and he was like, the standard down there is like Saturday to Saturday. So I set the minimum for 6 nights. And it's done pretty well. And with Price Labs, you can override it. So if you get a random 2 or 3 day booking open, you can just it'll automatically let people book it for 3 days.
Okay.
But you could test it too. I mean, that's the only property that I have that length of time set. So I wouldn't do, like, especially this time of year, I would keep the 2 nights. I mean, hell, even if you wanted a 1 night just to get people in, but I think 2 nights is totally reasonable, especially on the weekends. And even if you wanted to do in the summer, do like a 3-night minimum, like Thursday to Sunday or something.
Okay.
Just so you're maximizing those weekends. But
yeah,
I mean, to me, these numbers look solid. And you confirm that the HOAs included the utilities, which was my first question. So
yeah, we did. I need to double check. I think some of the utilities are included. That's what the realtor told us, but I just want to get the bylaws just to be sure to see exactly what is covered.
Okay.
But I know some of them are.
Are those tax numbers accurate too, the 167?
From what we could find on Zillow, if Zillow's accurate, then yes.
Okay.
And I think some HOAs down there cover some of the taxes or all of the taxes, which again, we didn't have the answer to that. They didn't know for sure. So we have to get their bylaws to see.
The only other thing that I would look at would be the insurance and see if you need flood insurance, because that could swing your numbers quite a bit if you do.
The realtor suggested something called H06 insurance, which is like
Is
for
that,
vacation.
maybe hurricanes or something? I don't know.
I thought that too, but I looked it up. It's mostly like for beachfront vacation homes specifically. I haven't looked into it, and I have not looked into pricing yet. And I don't know if we need that on top of, because the HOA covers insurance. We'll also need our insurance. And then I don't know if we also need, what's the insurance company you use?
Proper.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll need all three, or I don't know.
So I have, New Hampshire is in a condo. So I have Proper that covers inside of my unit. And I think I paid, their premiums definitely went way up last year, but I want to say it was like $1,600. So you're pretty much right in line with what I was paying
for Proper
a month. Yeah.
Is that, so why are their premiums going up? Is it just
more claims?
Okay.
People are submitting more claims.
Okay. We just want to make sure we're really insurance up on that place, especially if a hurricane does hit.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be left holding the bag.
Right.
But I mean, the numbers look good. So, I mean, for me, this looks like, and you guys like Myrtle Beach, I'm assuming?
To be honest, I've never been there, but we have friends who have gone there on vacation the last 20 years. And he's a real estate investor too. And he was like, this is my plan to invest there. So we started looking there, and it was more in line with our price point than other vacation areas. So we'll diversify.
I thought it was
out
much more expensive there. This looks like a great price.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, there's even some places for like under $200K, but not necessarily right on the beach. But hey, if people pay to go there, so, and it's furnished, which is nice.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm looking at this, the numbers look good. So unless we're missing something, for me, I think the numbers look good. So you have $3K in there for furnishings.
Yeah, because we
that up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep some of their furnishings. We'll trade out some that are kind of like, cheap looking. I don't know how much it's going to cost us. We haven't gone through all of that yet to see what we want to trade out. And I think they're taking some of like the artwork and stuff, but the big furniture, I was told they're leaving. So,
which is fine. You can go to Wayfair or Home Goods or whatever and just get some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, keep us posted. I mean, this looks like a good one.
I definitely will.
Did you guys put in an offer yet, or are you still?
We have not. We've been in close contact with the realtor just to see if there's other offers coming in, and so far nothing. But we're getting our stuff together right now to make an offer. So.
Okay, awesome. That's exciting.
Hopefully this week. Yep, we're excited.
Sweet. So is this your first deal, or did you have another one?
This is our first deal. We had looked at some other deals back in the fall around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And we actually had put in an offer on a place near us, and then we pulled it because we just realized the numbers weren't good enough.
Okay.
So we've been working our tails off, and actually there's another condo here in Michigan where we live. A friend of a friend wants us to rental arbitrage it from them. So they're basically handing us the keys with it furnished, and we pay them monthly, but then we get to turn around and Airbnb it. So
sweet. That sounds like
so yeah, two things came up real fast. So
that's like I tell everybody, like it's like you get a pound pavement and then it just snowballs really quickly.
Yeah, I mean it feels like it's been slower than we wanted it to be, but it's just the way ours happened. So it is what it is, and we're still working hard.
Awesome. I love it.
So we'll keep you updated.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
I don't think so. I'll post on Facebook if I think of anything else, but we're pretty excited. We think we're going to put in an offer, so we'll let you know.
Awesome. Congrats.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Let's see. D, you got any questions, buddy?
No questions. Second guest coming in today, so I'm expecting them in a couple hours, and then
nice.
Just monitor it while they're there.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Matt, you got any questions?
Not really. Nope. Just
right.
nope. I'm just well, actually, I mean, to be honest, as you know, Mike, our bottom floor of the. So we're closing on our 2-family March 6th, and in Salem, and we're moving to the top floor, which the new law. But we are going to be renting out, short-terming it. So it's long-term for about 6 more months now, but it's going to be short-terming it for the peak months of Salem, as you know. So going to have to get that up and running and get that going. So, but besides that, that's all I got.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Let's pull up the Facebook group. And actually, Tommy, you just hopped on. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. Am I on mute?
Nope, you're good.
Oh, cool. What's happening?
Not too much. How you doing?
Everything's great. Just got in the car, driving home. I know I'm a little late. I miss anything good?
Just reviewing Bethany's deal, which looks real solid.
Awesome.
Excited about that. Nice Myrtle Beach property.
Very cool. Nothing new here. Just doing my regular search for properties and just dealing with the guest. I did have one thing come up. I'm just wondering if it's been a problem for you or not, but with the August, the automated email that goes out, at the very bottom, it has an option to where it gives the guest, it says, if you'd like a key, please contact your, whoever, basically me, yada, yada. So I actually had someone reach out to me wanting a key. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. We actually don't offer a key, but it just kind of made for an uncomfortable situation. And I'm just like, man, so I reached out to August and they basically told me, there's nothing they can do. But I'm just wondering, did I just get unlucky, or have you had people make that request to you?
I have a couple times, and I just say that there's a spare key on site only in the event that the lock fails.
Okay.
But we don't offer that up. Like, they need to use the lock.
I like that. That's a little more elegant than explain.
It's more of a fail safe for for the lock.
All right, cool. But that's it. Everything else is all is good. So
awesome, man.
Yep.
Cool. So let me check out the Facebook group. See what questions we got over here. So Jamie had a good question. Recent inquiry from China. Anyone taking extra precautions right now? I checked the heat map for the outbreak, and they're not from the town that currently lists any cities, lists any active cases, but they're also not too far from Hong Kong, which has lots of activity. Any tips? That is a really good question. I have not run into that as of yet. I would actually call Airbnb and just say, like, what are we doing with this situation? Because this isn't just affecting us. This is affecting hosts from all over the world at this point. And I would just ask them, like, what's your policy? Like, what are we doing here? Like, should we just not accept guests from China? Or, like, how is Airbnb protecting hosts from spreading this deadly virus across the freaking planet at this point? So that would be my take. Because again, if you accept them and then you cancel, it's not good for your profile. We never want to cancel anybody. So for me, before I accept it, I would personally call Airbnb and just say, hey, like, how should I handle this situation? Like, I'm not really comfortable hosting these guests. They're somewhat near this coronavirus zone. Just give me some guidance here, because I don't want this spreading throughout my property. So that's how I would handle that, Jamie. Let's see what else we got. So Roland said, hey group, can someone do me a huge favor and look over my deal for a second? Opinion, big concern for my margin is too small. We need you to use the deal analyzer, homie, in order for us to do that. So please use the deal analyzer, and then I'm happy to go through that with you. Lucas said, it seems more frequently that guests are messaging me saying that they have not received the link to download the August app. Are they overlooking something? Am I not doing something I should be? How can I send them a link to download the app so they can access the suite if I have to? I would just set it up so it sends a keypad code. Again, I had that issue a lot with August, so that's why when I scaled beyond, I think like 9 or 10 units, I switched up the system a little bit. Initially, you'll get that message here and there, and then I'd literally manually send them their unique code through Airbnb. I don't resend the request. I don't invite them to download an app. It just adds more complication. I'd rather just send them the link so that send them the code so that they can just use the code to get in. Chad said, hey guys, I'm starting to rent my space out as event space in addition to a STR. I don't know how to price this though. All of my guests are renting the property and staying there for a few days. In the future, I'll be listing it on event space pages. The example I have for now is a 2-night rental. One of the days hosts a 50-person wedding reception. I have no idea what to charge for this. Do I charge by the hour, by the person? How much security deposit do I ask? I'm not providing anything besides what normally comes with the rental. Are there any sites you can recommend to help me research this data? I have never had events at my property, Chad, so I can't give you my experience with that. What I would say is talk to local event planners or wedding planners and ask them, like, what is the going rate, and just do some research. Whether you got to pretend shop them that you're hosting an event, or just tell them that you have a listing, and hell, they'll bring you events to your property.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reply to that question on Facebook, but PeerSpace is a site to check out. PEER.
Okay.
Space.
Yeah. Post that. I don't want to
you've
steal
heard
your
of that.
thunder. I have not.
Yeah, it's really good. It basically is exactly that. It's something that I'm starting to look into as another business model to implement into these short-term rentals. But yeah, basically on a basic level, people are just they're renting their space out for to production companies, commercial products, product shoots. You can do events, corporate meetings, and you can. I'm seeing on average probably $100 an hour, $150 an hour, up to a few $100 an hour.
Huh. Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm
that
kind of
sounds
looking at this if I control, if I have control of these properties or my own properties, why not open up those different avenues?
Yeah. And the only thing that I would say, if they're going to host an event, because I'm looking into this for the hotel right now, is you may need to get a permit from the town to host an event on the property.
Yep.
There's certain permits, like for if you're going to play music or any of those other types of things, you may need a permit from the town. So you're going to have to do a little research just to see what compliance requirements you're going to have to take care of.
Yep. And I'm guessing too, any of those things, PeerSpace, they probably have good information on that too, to kind of figure out these are the times where you're probably going to need to talk to your city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure live music's one of them, but yeah, so it seems like another interesting way to, bring in some more revenue on the properties.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely be checking them out myself as well.
Yep.
Let's see. Ernesto posted, anyone else listen to the latest BP podcast on taxes? Minute 50 to 57 addresses STRs, tons of tax benefits for STRs in general, and added bonus to consider. I have not, so I will check that out. Thanks for posting that, buddy. Let's see what else we got. Jamie said, getting a lot of inquiries about pool safety and kids items that are available to use. How do I create an automated message with information about these topics? Do I create a canned response? If so, does anyone have any tips on how to create a response that is triggered by keywords? So Jamie should be using Smartbnb. Looks like Chris already set. Perfect. Yeah. Chris explained it in his response. So thank you, buddy, for explaining that. Yeah, there's a way to set it up so it's triggered. So it'll look for certain words like pool or swim or anything like that. And then you can create a response based on that. Let's see. We already talked about Chad's. Talked about that one last week. I think that's it, guys. This is a light week for questions. Anybody else have questions on the phone? And if not, I'm just going to cover a couple quick things. Thank you, Matt, for texting me that I'll share some some lessons that Matt uncovered this week for some of our properties.
Hey, Mike, I don't know if you spoke already about this hotel deal that you're looking at, but I'd like to. Are you looking to build something, or you're looking to get in with somebody that is?
So we closed on a hotel 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So we purchased a hotel. Again, I have no money in the deal, and I own a third of that hotel. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So one of the people in the deal, one of the investors, I've run his property on Airbnb for over a year now, and he brought the deal to me. He's a developer, and he was like, "Hey, would this work with your model?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so we closed on it. It is an 11-room like boutique inn right on the ocean. And it also has a duplex. So there's 13 units total. We're renovating the entire property. I was just there a little while ago getting some drone footage. So we're creating all the listings right now, getting a website up and running for that. Turning the whole downstairs space. It used to be like a restaurant that hasn't been used for like 25 years. So we're gutting that entire space, turning it into a club room with huge TV and shuffleboard and all these different games. It has a huge deck overlooking the ocean that we're putting a bunch of beach furniture on and seeing if we can get a fire pit out there. And then we're renovating each of the rooms, putting split unit AC and heat, stripping all the wallpaper, literally like redoing the entire hotel. And we're shooting to launch that by May 1st.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that.
So I have a similar opportunity coming up, and so I'm kind of wondering, like, when you were running the numbers, did you basically just go on to AirDNA and just start looking at like whatever those individual units are going to be, whether 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and just kind of seeing what on average they're going for, and then just extrapolate that out, times 10 or 11, whatever it is?
Exactly. I'll show you exactly what I did. And they're actually really conservative numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I would go about it. Yeah, I'd love to see what you got going. Yeah, so my wife, what she does, she sells pre-engineered steel structures, and she does a ton of work in the Caribbean area. And so she has an investor that just approached her because she was talking about what I do, and he's basically looking to build with one of her structures a 10 unit that he wants to do solely for Airbnb. So we're sitting down and having a meeting with him because he wants to kind of talk, about us partnering in on it. So, so I'm trying to find I started looking at some data down on the island and trying to figure it out. And that's what I was doing, is looking at AirDNA.
So this is exactly what I did. I literally went to AirDNA for that report. And if you put your mouse over all of these, right, I just ran it for a studio to a 2-bedroom. And I just took the average of these and I put it into this sheet. So rooms 1 through 11, I just took these baseline prices, and then these others are like the duplex, which are a little higher. And I just ran the numbers that way, built out like a pro forma analysis. And these are super conservative because like Matt is building out the listings right now. We're starting at like $250 a night during the week and going up to $350 for the hotel rooms. Okay. So these are like ultra conservative numbers.
Yeah. Those are like a third to like a half of what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
there's still plenty of wiggle room. Even if we charge these amounts, we're still going to make money on it.
Yeah.
So that's literally all I did. I went into Google, set up a Google sheet, and just created like a budget or financial statement for it.
Yep.
And just ran the numbers on it. Right.
That's an awesome sheet.
All the expenses. Right. Just basically just running all the numbers. So then I've got a summary over here.
Am I privy to that sheet as a STR member?
I can't share this just because I've got some investors in this, but I just kept it real simple, right?
Yeah.
I took the occupancy rates, I put in the number of days, just built it out. And this one also has a parking lot that we can rent out by the day. So, I mean, just the revenue on the parking lot's like $50,000 in cash. So
wow,
it's a pretty sweet deal.
No, that's cool. This gives me a good idea to build on. I'm actually going to do the same thing. That's amazing. So one of my concerns, I don't know if you had it, but was kind of, do we become competition to ourselves in the sense that we have, that many units in that tight of an area. Did that cross your mind at all?
No. I mean, Steve Jobs said, never be afraid to cannibalize your business, because otherwise somebody else is going to do it. So
Yeah. All right.
I'm not too worried about it. I know that market too. You always got to know your market, especially when you're making a big play like that. Like, this is a multi-million dollar
I
deal.
don't know this market at all. I mean, it's an island in the Caribbean, so I'm going to have to get down there and do some homework.
Yeah. There's only one other hotel in the area that has been renovated and updated like we are doing it.
Okay.
All the others are like super old and dated. And the other one doesn't even have ocean views. We have direct ocean views for 9 of these rooms. So 9 out of the 13 have like direct ocean views. So
yeah, I mean, what I looked at, there are plenty of people doing Airbnb down there, but most of them, it's the same situation. They're all they do not look nice. They're not updated at all. So, so I kind of, that's a good starting point.
Yeah. And like I've been saying, you will see over the next 3 years that this business becomes like professionalized. Like, the mom and pop owner is going to get pushed out.
Yep.
That's just what's going to happen.
Yep, for sure.
So.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. And so one other thing that I'll share, that one of our listings, we had the guy canceled for a month-long booking the day that he checked in because of some health reason. So, we had to honor it. It was a health issue. It sucked. It like totally opened up our window and crushed our revenue for the month. But what we found, or quite frankly, what Matthew found, was he just started going through and tweaking the photos and adding different photos. And it definitely just refreshed the listing. And we got a booking within, 2 hours of him going in and playing around with the photos and just rearranging the photos. So it's just one other option. And I was talking to a buddy of mine. I have not tested this, but what he was saying, he met an operator in Arizona that just has 1 or 2 listings. And she's very hands-on with her properties. And she did a ton of testing and basically found that if she went in and just like added a decimal point or a period and then deleted it and saved it on her listing a couple times a day, Airbnb's algorithm supposedly interpreted that as that listing was updated and getting refreshed. So it bumped her SEO on Airbnb up. So she was always on the first page. So just by doing that little tweak. So that's a little hack you guys can test out. I have not personally tested it yet. I just heard this yesterday. So I wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah, I'm pulling in my driveway right now to go test that.
Okay, cool. Superman, you made it just in time before I called it.
I'm glad, dude. Just in the nick of time. I left my cape at home, so I had to drive everywhere. It was a real fucking bummer.
Yeah, couldn't find a phone booth anywhere.
Yeah, it was just awful. Nobody makes them anymore. I don't know what I'm gonna have to figure out a solution. But yeah, dude, I guess you want me to run through my quick update?
Yeah.
So I guess very briefly, put in my first offer on a property so I'm investing in this one with my old man. I love him to death. I really appreciate the support he's giving me, but he is buried in some old paradigm in terms of like what a property is worth compared to its list price. So we sent in the first offer, which was fucking way too low, and rejected, no counter offer. So I've kind of been spending the last week adjusting his mindset, and I think we're there. So we're going to put in a more reasonable offer tomorrow and get this thing going. And
so let me ask you this, and if you don't want to talk numbers, that's totally fine. But how much, I guess, so what was the asking price and what did you guys offer?
The list price is $238. And to be honest, looking at the comps in the area, I think that's undervalued. We put in $218.
Okay. I don't think that's ridiculous. I mean, I've put in an investor once told me, if you don't cringe when you put in that first offer, you went too high. So,
okay. Yeah, fair enough.
To give you context, the hotel deal, they were asking $3 million and I went in at 1.7. So I didn't get it for 1.7, but I got it for way less than $3 million. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, roger that. I think, our next round, I was thinking in the wheelhouse of 230 because I know that's what he paid. The current owner paid for it last year. Maybe
Why
that's
is he
too
selling
much.
it?
So the story that I'm getting is a bunch of these property owners, and this is actually one of the things Brad's told me, and my realtor's also Brazilian. So there's a bunch of Brazilian property owners in this community, and they're dumping a bunch of their properties because their economy's in the shitter. And supposedly this guy has another business that he wants to invest in. So, you know, there was no counteroffer, which tells me he's not insanely desperate. But if he's selling it less than a year later, he clearly doesn't understand what he has either, and he has other ambitions where he want to direct his time and energy. So
Yeah. If I were you, I'd call his agent and just say, what's the deal? Like, what are we going to get this deal done for? And then I would go lower than that. I would just say, you know, if he comes back, what did you say he wanted, 238?
That's the list price. Yeah.
Okay. So if the agent came back to me and, you know, was like, he wants 238, I'd be like, I don't think it's there or whatever. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you think that the value is there, then the value is there. I mean, do the numbers make sense at 238?
Yes, they do. Like, so off the market minder, 238 net back to owner average is 850 a month. So, right. I think that's what I'm saying is I'm like, look, now this is flawed logic, but if you apply a 6 cap to this bottom line number, like you would for a commercial property, it's worth 800,000. So, I mean,
well, that's what I was just going to run the numbers. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
So what'd you say? We'll call it 850 divided by what's a down payment? And like, just say all in cash that you'd need for it.
So they are actually, you know, because they're going to do all cash for it right now and then refinance later for the sake of speed.
Okay. So we'll say 10.2 divided by 238. It's like a 5%, 4.2% cash on cash. So if he leveraged that money, as you know, you're in that space, obviously his cash on cash return is going to go way up.
Right. Which they will. Right now we're kind of, okay, here's another great question for you. I'm getting conflicting reports on how flexible a second home mortgage is. Some people are telling me, yeah, you can use them till the end of time. Others are telling me an underwriter is going to get really leery after there's 2 in the same area.
So I was told I could have 1 second home, a second home.
So is Brad on here by any chance? I didn't see.
He's not.
Okay. So his mortgage guy, and it's the same thing he told me, said they're unlimited.
For a second home?
Yes.
That would be a third home and a fourth home.
Right. Right. So
I mean, if he can get the deal done, that's fantastic. I mean, at the end of the day, the difference, at least when I bought mine 3 years ago, was I only had to put 20% down, and my rate was a little bit less, I believe, for a second home as opposed to a investment property. So an investment property, I would have needed 25% down, and they would have included the income in order to qualify me, like the rental income, but we didn't need it at the time to qualify. Mm-hmm. So those were the kind of the 2 key points. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. So do they have a second home now? Is that the question?
No, they don't, but they also just put a down payment on something here in Tampa that will probably be done in 2021, which I will also Airbnb half the year and will be worth more. So I'm thinking if they want to save that one, that's the route to go. I think, you know, and the more experienced dude I've been talking to here locally is telling me that there are investment products that he uses for his people that are 15% down, and you're still getting a rate somewhere low 4s, which sounds just fucking peachy to me. So yeah. I don't really, at this point, like 10 versus 15%, if you have the scratch, I don't really see the upside of risking anybody giving, you know, your finances a second look.
So I wouldn't even, because he's going to buy this one cash, correct?
Correct. And then they'll figure that part out later. So I'm not getting too wrapped around the axle on it right now.
Yeah. So in my head, I'd leverage the second home loan for the other property, which I'm assuming is probably a nicer property anyway.
It is.
Right. So I would leverage that for that. I would buy this one cash and then just do a cash out refi even if it's an investment property, he's still going to pull out 75 to 80% of his cash after the refi, and I wouldn't even sweat it.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought. Okay. Second question. There is a device that Brad was telling me about that measures your water output. Like you connect it to the meter. What's it called?
I don't know. He mentioned it in the group the other day. I have not used it, but I am intrigued. So I definitely want to do some research on it. I'm pretty sure he posted that in the Facebook group though.
Okay. I'm trying to get the answer via Proper. I haven't found shit yet. Part of the
I think it
reason
was by
asked,
Samsung. I thought Samsung made like a water, or maybe that was just for leaks.
Hey guys, I just installed a device on my own home. It's called PHYN, PHYN.
Okay.
And it literally monitors down to a drop what's going on in your home.
what does it cost? Is it about $500?
It costs, yeah, I got it actually. Costco had a sale. I don't know if it's still going on, but I got it for $500. It's regularly $600. And then I had a guy that I know that does plumbing. He installed it for $200, but I have heard installation prices as high as like $1,500, which I just thought was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is this it, Tommy?
What's that? Yeah, that's it right there. No, hold on. No, that's the one that goes in your house. There's a, that will just tell you if there's a water leak somewhere in the, under your sink, let's just say. This device goes on your water main and it monitors the entire home. And what it will do is, in the case that, say a water supply line broke or there's some, major leak, it will automatically turn the water off to your home. So that it will stop. So prevent, yeah, that's it right there, PHYN Plus.
Okay.
Huh.
So yeah, it's really cool. I just got it installed like 2 weeks ago and been messing around with it.
That should be a nice insurance discount too, for sure.
Yeah, I'm about to call them up and see what they're gonna do about it. So I'll let you guys know.
Right on. Thanks, man.
$15
that helps
off.
me with a couple properties. So that's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Something you guys said, or Mike, you said it in terms of using the rental income for the for getting approved, because I'm looking for purchases, but being Airbnb, I've been being told that they wouldn't be able to use that, obviously, because there's no lease agreement. Have you found something different, or?
I think your best bet would be to go with a local mortgage broker. They call them like a portfolio lender, right?
Yep.
Shane could probably talk more about this, but a portfolio lender, they don't sell the loan off to Fannie and Freddie. So they keep it in-house. So they don't have to meet a lot of the same requirements that a lot of the bigger brokerages have to meet.
Yep.
So they can tend to be a little bit more flexible. Again, over the next couple of years, this is going to be a whole nother industry that is just starting to learn how do we value these short-term rental properties, right? They're still trying to figure out, like, how do we validate this income so that, because banks are ultra conservative, right? Like, it's all a big pyramid, right? You put your money in a savings account and they pay you 0.01%. Then they lend it out to me and you to go buy a property at 5%. And then we go take that money and make 20%, right? It's just this pyramid. But at the end of the day, their whole thing is about measuring their downside risk. So for them, they want to know that you're going to be able to pay the bill every single month. Like, they're just all about risk aversion. So historically, they're like, yeah, that's not consistent income. But as this industry matures and they have years of financial data, they're going to be like, yeah, like we can ballpark that this property is going to produce X because it has consistently over the past 2 years or whatever. Just like a hotel, right? Like, a hotel is the same thing. They're staying by the night. So it still has this stigma around it that a lot of them are mom and pop owners and we don't know if we can rely on this income or whatever. Even my buddy Emmanuel, he's refinancing. He owns 40 units. He's refinancing right now and going through something similar because the whole complex is short-term rentals. So, sorry, Shane, I cut you off.
No, all good, man. I was just going to say too, like, the great thing, like, generally speaking, with a portfolio lender, especially if they're local, if you get one with that, like, it's largely relationship based in my experience. So, like, if you have one that works, and they're like Mike said, they're usually way more open to being pitched on something. So, like, if you're, if you could stand in front of somebody and make a competent pitch and show them why it'll work, your chances are way higher. And then once you get one, you'll probably never have to go looking for money again, especially with the way these things perform. Like at least, you know, in that particular market, right? And it's only going to get easier when you can drop pro forma after pro forma of successful property. So
yeah, I agree.
think too,
that makes sense.
Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you mentioned it. They do not have to conform to the Fannie Freddie stuff. So there is way more creativity in terms of how they can finance a property.
100%. 100%.
And we're talking about local banks, right? Credit unions.
Potentially credit unions, but I'm thinking more like the local community bank.
Okay.
I think if you specifically use the phrase, "Are you a portfolio lender?" That's kind of
yes.
That's language which says, "Do you sell your mortgages and loans or not?"
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
and that's kind of what you're looking
And
for.
if they are a portfolio lender, that means they do not sell them off to Fannie and Freddie.
That's
exactly.
correct.
Yep.
So they make their
anybody
money by
else.
just collecting your rent or your mortgage every month. That's how they make their money. They make that interest. The majority of them just take it and they sell it off and they make a commission from selling
Yep.
it.
Yeah, they're holding it. They're holding on to the mortgage.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, awesome. No, that definitely helps me out.
Cool.
So, and I mean, I don't really need that so much now, but it's just, you know, as you start getting up there in the properties, you know, that's going to become important, you know, as kind of our debt to income ratio starts to increase from, you know, having multiple properties.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one of the things that I've talked about for some folks that are getting into the elite coaching is I have private lenders that are looking to fund deals. Like I've got a partnership with a REIT that has access to a lot of capital and they love short-term rentals.
Okay.
So like they're looking to fund deals.
Oh, wow.
So
Awesome.
I mean, are they basically like hard money lender, 10%, 12% type rates?
no, it'll be deal by deal basis, but they'll basically just be partners in the deal.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that's definitely, yeah, that sounds pretty attractive.
Yeah. So when you're at that point, when you're adding more units and you're scaling and then you get into elite, then we can talk about all that other stuff for sure.
For sure. Good deal.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
I have the properties paperwork for the water shut off, so I'm going to link that in the Facebook group.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know there is one other. There's Moen also makes one. I can't tell you the name of it, but it's a little bit cheaper. But I ended up going with the PHYN because just from talking to both companies, I like it seems like the technology on the PHYN is a better technology. So for I think it was like $100 or $200 difference. I just went with the PHYN.
Yeah, the other one's called Flow by Moen.
Yep, Flow. Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, I've actually got one kind of broader real estate question. May or may not anybody have come across it. Has anybody ever done a subject to sale by any chance?
I have not, but my boy Nick Spone, he's your guy to talk to. He's got over 50 properties like that. So he does a lot of subject twos.
M1 Nick?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So hit him up. He's a real good resource for that.
Okay, cool. That's all I got, man. I'm good.
All right, guys. Any last words, last questions?
I love you and go Gators.
I'm going to send that to my brother. He's in life. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys next week. Have an awesome week, all right?
All right. Take care, Mike.
Thanks,
See you
buddy.
guys.
Bye.
See you, brother.